Hey everybody, Dan here with Pain Free You. Today I wanted to talk about this concept, how critical thinking can help with your recovery. So we'll get to that in a second. As you see, I'm back home. Internet at the lake wasn't great, so shot home. I may go back for some of the other calls, take a risk. We'll see how it goes. Gorgeous day though. Hope everybody's doing well. So, how critical thinking can help with your recovery from TMS, perceived danger pain. So, let's define critical thinking. It's evaluating factually and rationally what's going on. So, critical thinking is basically evaluating your own thoughts. And I guess a good question to ask is fact or fiction? Better said, fact or fear, right? So critical thinking, and basically before you just wholesale believe all of your thoughts, also knowing that many of your thoughts by default go into the fear place, instead of accepting all of them as factual, when you start to apply some critical thinking and ask yourself, is this true? Is it absolutely true? Is it useful? Does it make me feel safer or more in danger? Critical thinking, is this fact or fiction? Are these just the ravings of a terrified brain? If that's true and that your general state is terrified, it's very likely that much of your thinking is not fact-based, it's fear-based. And there's an old statement that says fear is a liar, right? False evidence appearing real. So, critical thinking is important because so many of us believe that if there's a thought coming out of my head, it's got to be true, right? It's my thought. It's got to be true. Or maybe it's a thought that you're repeating that you heard somewhere else, that some doctor told you something, or you read something somewhere, or some stranger on the internet made a comment and you reacted to that as if, oh my goodness, do I need to reconsider my entire strategy because somebody that I don't know said something, right? First of all, don't take opinion from strangers that you don't know, that have not established any sense of credibility or track record in helping people, right? And that goes for me. If you're brand new and you just, like, who's this Dan guy who's hanging out in his backyard talking? Don't take my word for it. Read through some comments, look at the success stories, validate whether or not the things I am saying make sense to you or not. And if they don't, discard it. Stop watching, right? But if it does make sense and you see that there is a track record of people getting better by implementing the concepts I teach, then perhaps the things I say might be worth listening to and implementing. But do the same thing for yourself. So if you are having a whole bunch of thoughts and you're in a bit of a crisis, you're in a bit of a freak out, it's probably a really good time to apply this concept of critical thinking and evaluating whether or not the thoughts that are spewing out of your head 1,000 miles an hour because you're terrified, it's a good time to evaluate whether or not those thoughts should be believed or allowed to pass by, to be discarded, right? Super important. Critical thinking can absolutely help with your recovery because if all you do is trust the first thought that comes out of your head as if it's factual, and you're in a bad way, colorful sensations, symptoms, pretty afraid, believing those thoughts is likely to delay your recovery. Dismissing them as not beneficial, not true, not helpful, I don't need to listen to, take seriously, or believe my own thinking. Critical thinking. Apply it to what's coming out of your own head, right? Because in many cases, it's not beneficial. Now, what is the tact? Well, once you recognize, I don't have to listen to that scary stuff, well, we can counter that with rational, factual-based thinking. Well, I understand what causes symptoms, the perception of danger. Not actual danger, but the perception of danger. And in chronic symptoms, most often, it's a false perception of danger. Once you understand what's going on and how symptoms are created by the brain, the subconscious mind, then you can do the assessments. Is this PDP.com? If it says TMS, if it says perceived danger pain, that's what it is. Make a decision to accept that as what is going on for you. Once you know that, you can use that factual-based assessment to rationalize, hey, I don't need to be afraid. I don't need to believe these fearful, catastrophic thoughts that just kind of fill my head all day. Because I know what causes symptoms, and I know that applies to me. There is a solution, and I know I'm capable of it. So what am I going to believe all this scary, fearful, terrified thinking? Why do I believe that? Critical thinking. Is it true? Is it absolutely true? Is it beneficial? Is it helping me? Is it creating safety or danger? And then if the answers lead you to, no, this isn't helping me at all, you can absolutely say, shh, not going to buy into that, not going to believe it. So does this make sense? Apply some critical thinking to your own thoughts, right? Oftentimes we'll apply really accurate, critical thinking to what we hear. But you can also apply that to what you're told by doctors, by what you see on imaging studies, by your diagnoses. You don't have to buy into that either, because if you've done the assessments and you understand that the perception of danger is what's causing symptoms, what you see on imaging studies and the doctor's diagnoses may not even be true. Apply some critical thinking to what you've been told as well. And if somebody says, hey, you learn to live with it, you're never going to get better, especially a good time to apply some critical thinking. Why are they saying it's not curable? Because they don't know how to cure it. That doesn't mean there's no cure. It just means they don't know. So to them, nothing I can do, so it's not curable. They're wrong. So if you've ever heard that kind of stuff, that is the type of thinking that should be looked at critically. Evaluate it. Analyze it. And compare it against the factual stuff that we know here in this mind-body space. So that's what I got for you today. This is how critical thinking can help you recover. Fact or fiction? And more appropriately, fact or fear? Because we all know fear sounds logical, but fear is a liar. So with that, I'm going to wrap it up. Hope everybody's doing wonderful. And as usual, we'll see you folks tomorrow. Take care.